What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to break down why tomorrow is going to be a massive day for the markets. This will affect the SPY, the VIX, and Tesla. I'm also going to talk in more detail about the SPY and the QQQ and the VIX and how they may also affect Tesla for tomorrow, as Tesla's at a very key level right now. Now, before I break anything down about Tesla, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is, any could be a free Tesla share, a free Apple share, or a mix of all of them. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in a week. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. Tesla is actually up about 1.22% for the day. However, I wouldn't necessarily celebrate just yet because we are actually getting very close to some key resistance. If you look at Tesla's overall trend, we touch this upper trend line, we come all the way down, we touch the lower one in this channel, we touch the top, then the bottom right here, then the top, then the bottom again, which was very recent. We came down to about 166. I did predict that Tesla could make a new low, but I was wanting to see this thing retest this trend line. And I wasn't too sure if we can actually break it. Now, I did mention that Tesla could hit maybe like 170 to 172 today. That was my prediction from yesterday. Then maybe see a rejection. We did actually see 170 be touched. However, we're still actually not touching this trend line just yet. So that's the reason why tomorrow is going to be huge. When it comes to giving you more context, I want to note some important things. All right. There have been a lot of articles coming out saying that Tesla's a bad company. It's the worst year we've seen in decades, this and that. And these articles are very biased. Just look at their numbers right here. They're talking about Tesla's growth from like 2010 up until like this year. And they're actually comparing the full years with this year. And this year isn't even over yet. So we haven't even seen the Santa rally if we're going to get it. So it makes no sense to actually do this. They also intentionally did not include like 2008 or 2009. It just shows how biased many of these articles are to bash Tesla down. And all this FUD that's being spread, all this news about Tesla hitting $100, Tesla going for bankruptcy and this and that. I mean, it's really affecting the sentiments of many investors. However, you also have to remember that Tesla is very oversold, so it is still possible for the stock to bounce in the opposite direction. Now, the reason why I was very concerned about today is because of the fact that many of these Fed officials are coming out, and they were actually very hawkish in the past. They were talking about the Fed actually raising the overall rate above 5% to about 5.25%. He also talked about some other hawkish things involving inflation, and this is the reason why stocks did see lots of choppy price action, especially when the Fed officials speak. However, we saw a big shift in their tone today as Bullard came out, not to mention, I think Mester. They also talked about the fact that the Fed may actually be very fixated on a 50 basis point rate hike for December. Is it guaranteed? Not necessarily, but it does look like they are pretty fixated on that, and they do look like they're ready for it. So because of this talk about the Fed not being as hawkish as some people are talking about, there's a good chance the market did start to pump because of that, and we may continue to pump thanks to that too. However, in order for the pump to really continue, we need to see what the FOMC minutes tell us. If you don't know what this is, basically, all this really means is at 2 o'clock p.m. tomorrow, that's Eastern time, this report comes out. And in this report, it's basically going to highlight the FOMC meeting on paper. Now, the thing about it is there could sometimes be altercations to be made because we are seeing this being reported 3 weeks afterwards. But what's important about it is it gives investors a good understanding of what the Fed may end up doing with future policies on paper. So it's not about like some Fed official twisting their words in real time. It's more about what on earth do the documents show us. And if we do see some more signs of the Fed not being as hawkish, I believe this could actually cause the market to maybe continue to push to the upside. And it's not just me telling you this, the charts are also indicating this. I'm going to show you guys that in a couple of minutes. Now, if the market does pump, for example, just hypothetically, one thing that's a little concerning is this very low price pairs ratio on Tesla. The market has not been kind of like pushing Tesla up the way it used to. And that's the big problem with Tesla. However, there have been instances where we did see this actually bounce. So we could see this bounce at least for the short term. And I'm really hoping that does end up happening because Tesla is very oversold. Now, even if Tesla bounces, I have to note that I did mention some very important support levels and demand zones on Tesla. I mentioned to everyone that, look, if Tesla continues to break to the downside and doesn't get a nice bounce, right? If it keeps on dropping, and let's just say the market does see another big downturn and Tesla comes down, the next major demand zone is between 155 to 150. And then if we break below that, 136 to 130. Now, that does not mean we have to hit these levels like next week or overnight. I mean, it is possible, but like I said, it's going to be very dependent on how many buyers come into Tesla for tomorrow and how the overall market reacts. And it is possible that Tesla could see some temporary green and actually see a small rally. I'm going to show you exactly why. So I was mentioning the fact that FOMC minutes are coming, and the SPY actually had a small rally today. It actually tried to fight for 400 again. And what's interesting is over the last couple of days, we formed this bull flag like formation where the SPY actually, pushed up very hard. We started to respect the downtrend. We got a nice break to the upside above this resistance. Then we started to form a pennant. And I was very worried about SPY actually coming down, and that's because of the VIX. Let me show you why I was kind of concerned. When you look at the VIX on the daily, the VIX did something very different. So notice how the VIX had major support around this 22.64 level, 22.5. We bounced off it here, we push up. We bounced off it here, we pushed up, and then we were supposed to like bounce off here and maybe form a double bottom right here. Note, see the double bottom right here? Instead, what happened was the VIX came crashing down again, which means that the VIX is apparently looking to go for the gap fill right here. See this gap down here? This would take the VIX all the way down to 20 flats, 20.6, or even lower than that. So if the VIX does continue to drop, that's a sign that SPY could actually continue to pop to the upside, right? And then on the dollar index, right here, you could see this thing is also starting to come down a bit, but this is not looking as, I would say, strong as the VIX because we were on a previous uptrend and it does look like we got a rejection off this like 108 level. So it might start to come down a bit more, but I'm just not as fixated on downside on this as I was for the VIX. So once again, even it did actually come down today, which is still technically a bullish signal for the markets, but we need to actually watch this more carefully for making more conclusions. But anyways, these things are essentially suggesting that SPY has the tendency, the ability to push up more and retest 400 maybe as soon as tomorrow. And if we break above 400, we have some resistance at that 402 range. All right. So we're going to likely see SPY retest this. Now, the question is, all right, could we break 402? I think it's going to depend on the FOMC minutes. If this thing breaks 402 and sees like 403 and the trend is still very strong and buyers come in, there's a nice gap all the way up to about this like 407, 407 to about 408 range. If that happens, if this thing breaks, because we actually closed above the 200 EMA on SPY, that's a bullish signal, guys. That's bullish. So there's a chance SPY could actually push to about 402. If this thing breaks above that, this thing could go to about 407, maybe like 407 to 408 around that zone. And then the thing is we have major resistance right there. So I don't really want to talk about whether or not we can break past it or not. But the bottom line is this still looks more bullish than bearish, and we are seeing some more bullish signals from the VIX and the dollar index. What does this mean for Tesla? What this all essentially means, and hold on, for the QQQ, very similar story. This is the NASDAQ, very similar story. Tesla's not dropping as hard, and this thing actually got a really nice bounce off the zone I was talking about, 280 previously. So that's very, very interesting to see this thing bounce. It does have potential to retest. First, we have to break resistance at 286.3, break above that, then we could see 288 on the QQQ. Good for tech stocks and Tesla. So, anyways, for Tesla, what on earth was I about to say? The answer is Tesla is pushing up, and this thing is likely going to be retesting resistance. we need to see how Tesla reacts, because unfortunately, the overall market is not, or at least over the last few weeks, it has not been affecting Tesla that much. But Tesla is oversold, so I'm hoping for a nice bounce and a nice push above this level. If Tesla pushes up tomorrow, which I believe it will, into open, Tesla has to break and hold 170. That's it. Hold 170. And this thing is going to have hope to continue pushing up. And we could see 171, 172, followed by 175 maybe. And then we have this nice gap up to about 180. I mean, in order for us to get there, we have to break and hold 170, this resistance zone. Now, what else is possible is if you are a bear, notice how we keep getting rejected off this red line that I drew out, this resistance level. So right here, we just keep hitting it, rejected, hitting it, rejected, hitting it, rejected. We could get a rejection too, right? It's also very possible to get rejected here. Now, I am not a fortune teller. I'm not Houdini. I don't know with 100% certainty what Tesla's going to do, because there have been many instances where it's done either things. But in my opinion, I'm starting to think that because the market might pump a bit, and because of the fact that buyers are likely to start coming in and the QQQ could start pumping, there's a chance that some buyers could actually come into Tesla and try to push this thing up. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to promise anything, all right? But here's what I want to note. If you're watching Tesla tomorrow, watch this level exactly right here, this 170 level. If Tesla gets a big rejection and starts coming down again, that's not going to be a good sign, because we'd still be in this channel, this downward channel. But if this thing manages to break 170 and starts holding this level, and the market starts pumping tomorrow, and we start to see, the FOMC minutes come out and the market responds positively, and Tesla follows, there's a good chance this thing could actually start to push up a bit and see 172, break above that, and we have a lot of room to hit this 175 zone. All right, very possible. And this is, I mean, you could argue this is starting to resemble an accumulation. We just need confirmation before actually coming to that claim, because there have been other instances where Tesla did this, like here, for example, and this thing ended up just gapping down anyways. So I just want to make it very clear, guys. Watch this 170 level. Let's see Tesla hold it. Let's see Tesla break it. Let's see Tesla push. Because if we could do it, there's a chance we could actually pump. If we fail and we get rejected, then it's not going to look pretty again, guys. So that's the very key level. And that's why tomorrow is going to be a very big day for Tesla, not just because of Tesla alone, but also because of the Fed, because of the overall market. And it's going to be very important for this market going forward. So it's also the last day before Thanksgiving. The market's closed for Thanksgiving on Thursday. It's also open for just a couple of hours on Friday. So I'm hoping for a nice close before Thanksgiving. I would really love that. I want to see this thing push. So I am inclined to believe we're a little bit more likely to push above it. I want to see it. However, I'm still prepared for anything, and you should be too. What else is good about Tesla, however, would be the volume, 78 million compared to the average. The overall volume on, like, I think SPY and other small caps is slowing down big time because we have a short week, not to mention the fact that buyers are just getting ready for the FOMC minutes to be released. And Tesla's still holding up with pretty decent volume. And on top of that, as you guys know, I mean, it's no surprise that the short sellers are actually, they did actually gain the edge over Tesla, but it is slowing down just a bit. So I am hoping that that trend continues. And finally, from a historical basis, just remember Tesla's green 48% of the time on Wednesdays, and November tends to be a bullish month. So if the market does pump a bit, there is a chance Tesla could bounce. And then finally, the short interest, we saw a small spike yesterday as Tesla did end up seeing, the shorts take control and this thing was dropping. But there's also hope that the downtrend is respected and Tesla does get a bounce as time goes on. So once again, when it comes to Elon Musk, I do respect Elon Musk. I think he's an incredible man. He's really done amazing things for Tesla in the past. Also in the present, he is still working hard. However, I haven't really seen him speak too much about Tesla, and he does have a tendency of getting very political. So those have costs, and I just wish that he's very, very careful. That's my main topic, to be very careful with his words. I just wanted to make that as clear as possible. But I do follow him nonetheless, and I do really, believe in him. All right. So I'm still very optimistic for Tesla. I'm 100% confident in this company. It's going to succeed. I'm very, very happy. And I do believe that this share price is going to soar to the moon. However, for the short term, just watch these zones very carefully and get ready for tomorrow as it's a very big day. Anyways, that's essentially what I have for this video. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a great rest of the day and get ready for tomorrow. It's the last full day before Thanksgiving weekend. So thank you, Tesla to the moon, because the long-term future is still very bright, and peace out.